Hello and welcome, dear listeners, to the sixth podcast of the Cubic Wisdom Project, the power of poetry, and to explore our deeper selves through poetry, through my poetry as well as the poets that I'm going to invite to our podcasts. My name is Nüket Kardam. In a series of podcasts, let's explore the deeper selves that we all have, and poetry offers us a beautiful avenue to do just that. My partner in this project is Amir Etemadzadeh, who composed the music to each of the poems that I wrote, and they are all in an album called Journey to the Real on Spotify. You can listen to this album, as I said, on Spotify or iTunes or Amazon, or you can watch the videos on YouTube. youtube.com/@cubicwisdom will take you to both the videos and the podcasts. And our podcasts are also available on Apple Podcasts. A little about myself. I have been a student of Sufism, the mystical tradition of Islam, for some years, and my poetry is inspired by that practice, learning from the Sufi teachers I've studied with, and ultimately from Muhyiddin ibn Arabi and Mevlana Jalaluddin Rumi. So this episode is called Travel. We're going to explore a particular poem called Travel. What's the meaning of travel? What do we mean by travel? So I've invited Amir Etemadzadeh, my partner in this project, to discuss the different meanings of traveling, external traveling and internal traveling. So let's first listen to the poem accompanied to Amir's music, and then I'm going to invite him for a conversation about travel. So here we go. Travel. Traveling is happening every moment. The blood travels in the body. The breath travels in and out. But what is travel? Travel comes from travail, which means work. But what kind of work? The work to discover the answers we seek, or perhaps to discover the questions we ask. Traveling is circular, sometimes to the center, sometimes back to the circumference of the circle. Now I'm traveling in a triangle within the circle, from living to dying and back to living, then catching a glimpse of Al-Hayy, the ever-living, which supersedes living and dying. Oh, what wonder of wonders! The circle is becoming a sphere, and the triangle turns into a pyramid with 4 triangles. And look, there's a cube inside the sphere. All building blocks of the universe. The building blocks of the universe? Traveling takes me outward, expanding forever. Then I turn and look inside. And lo and behold, it's all taking place right here, right now. Where is here? Here is inside the word where. W-H-E-R-E. Don't you see? The moment we ask where, the answer is here, hidden inside the word where. I realized how much I liked your music. In fact, before we would go to travel, I would really like to hear how you composed this particular music to this particular poem.
Well, thank you so much. That was very beautiful, and I enjoy listening to that every time we listen to it. Well, travel is something that everybody does, and there is always
Yeah.
going in travel. So when we travel, we're going from one place to another place, and there's always a beginning. There's the point A, and there's a point. So we need to go from somewhere to somewhere, and I kind of took that idea into consideration when I was composing the music.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we use and the horn of a train to a little bit more awareness to that travel, and the rhythm of the music definitely went with the rhythm of the train to in the fact that we're going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I basically reflected what I took from the poem into the music.
Well, it's absolutely beautiful. The way that the music and the poem went together. I realized once again, or even more, how it's possible to have two creative media, poetry and music, and bring it together in such a way that it even allows us to go
For
deeper
sure.
than we could otherwise.
For sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. What do you have to say about?
You know, travel, there's so many different ways of being able to looking at travel, so many different parts to travel
Mhm.
that first of all, when I was young, and I still, I guess, like to travel around the world and see different people, different cultures, different geographical areas. All of that is beautiful, and everyone, I think most people love that kind of travel.
Sure.
But then there's another kind of travel which is spiritual travel, you might say,
Mm-hmm.
or travel inwards, you
Mm-hmm.
might say. And, the more you travel outwards, if you are conscious of it, it may allow you ways to also travel inward. In other words,
Yeah.
they're not too separate from each other. What do you think? I mean, they're not separate, they are actually interlinked.
Yeah. Well, yeah. With which eye are you looking at it, basically? With
Mhm.
the eye that sees the outside, you're traveling outwards. But if you close the eye and look with your heart, then you can travel inwards, I guess.
That reminded me of a photo or a, a painting, something that I saw of a Native American,
Mm-hmm.
where maybe some of our listeners might also they might resonate with this of a
Mm-hmm.
of a person, a man or a woman. It could be either a man or a woman, with one eye closed and
Mm-hmm.
the other eye open,
Mm-hmm.
so that they're looking outside simultaneously as they're looking inward.
Exactly. I think
Mm,
that's something that people do not do nowadays. We
mm-mm,
pay attention so much to the material world that we forget that we have an inside world also, or spiritual world, and we lose that balance. So greed sneaks in, and people start like acting weird because they're paying attention too much to the outside and what they have and their
mhm,
happiness, and everything is linked to what they have in gadgets and new apps, this and that.
mhm.
But
Yes.
maybe a couple decades ago, when none of this technology existed, people had more time to sit down and think and write and read and come up with new, more, moral ideas, or come up with traditions, or come up with, new ways to celebrate life. I
Mhm,
think that this traveling inside is something that we need to bring up again and basically pay attention to, and start pondering upon it, so we can get to know ourselves better. So then we can reflect and say, okay, well, who am I buying this material for? Who is this person inside me that I'm buying all of this for? Or who is this person inside me that I'm taking to see the world? If I don't know who is inside me, who is exactly what I call myself, then it's the rest of it doesn't really make sense, because we lose the
mm-mm.
contrast.
Yeah, yeah. What you reminded me of is it seems to me that self-reflection and going inward requires actually a lot of courage and a lot of time
Yes.
to self-reflect, and that also requires us to see our faults and what's going on inside. Like Rumi says that there's a fight going on inside us, and
Hmm.
that fight is reflected outside in wars and other kinds of things. So we
Hmm.
project what is going on inside to outside. So it seems like we want to avoid looking inside because we're not sure what we're going to see that there. We're
Hmm.
afraid somehow. And
Sure.
we use the outside travel as a way to escape. Would you
Yeah.
agree with that?
I do kind of, like I'm by no means I'm an expert in this field, but I can just from personal experience say that some people are basically it's easier to see the outside world. Obviously, that's the first
Yeah,
thing. Like we're born and we open our eyes and that's what we see. And if
right.
there's no training or any attention given to this matter, then we will never learn how to basically look inside or go
No,
inside. In my profession, which is music, and sometimes we mix music with a spirituality or use music as a mean to get a little bit more spiritual or going into a trance. I realize that people just don't know how to do it. Like they have the will, they have the capacity, but they haven't really learned how to go inside and like focus on their breath or focus on the piece of music or the beat of a drum and just like let go of the thoughts and just like kind of l- let themselves go into the world inside. So I think it's a matter of practice, it's a matter of education. Nobody talks about it at the school, and
no.
nobody basically, it's not on the news, it's not on social media much unless people
Hmm.
search for it. So I guess it's just something that most people have to adventure on their own and basically search for it and learn about it. But once they learn it, I think then it's like they learn the path to the inside world, and it becomes easy.
Yeah,
It's like you want to learn a musical instrument. You start it; it's difficult at the beginning, but once you learn a couple pieces, then it becomes easy.
yeah.
It's just like that. And then once you go to the inside world and you experience yourself, basically, because I think, in my opinion, the first thing that you face is yourself when you go inside.
Hmm.
And you're like, okay, well, I'm alone with myself, with my thoughts. What is coming up? Is our snake coming up or our flowers coming up, basically?
Hmm.
Is something biting me or something hugging me? So I
Hmm.
guess that loving relationship that is formed within me when I'm not thinking about anything else outside myself is crucial for me to be able to learn to love myself and to learn to love my creator and hence love the whole universe basically.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what comes up for me is on the one hand, inside and outside are inseparable
Hmm.
because energy, chi, all the different traditions tell us that inside and outside are one. I mean, I was at a
Yes.
workshop this weekend, energy workshop, and I could
Yes. Yes.
tell that as I was breathing, the energy that was going through my body was going outside and then coming back inside. So, what's the difference
Mm.
between inside and outside in that sense? When you
Yeah.
realize that, wait a minute, I'm not alone because what's inside is also outside and vice versa.
Hmm.
Amazing. So do we separate? Is it separate or not? Or if is there a paradox here that it's both separate and not separate at the
Well,
same time?
you're getting very deep.
It's like a paradox because you
It
go
sure
in,
is.
yeah, you go inside, and then you are together with your creator, like you say. But then the
Hmm.
outside is a reflection of that creator too, so that the travel outside is appreciating the multiplicity. Uh, Again, it is still your creator, but it's the
Hmm.
multiplicity. But inside it is hidden almost.
Hmm.
Like I
Yeah.
said in the poem, you go from the center to the circumference and back to the center again.
Yeah, I agree. And it's also the feeling of just like sitting here and not doing anything and just relaxing into our thoughts and
Mm.
let let it's kind of like half asleep, half awake, like you see dreams or daydreaming.
Mhm.
It's not a spiritual maybe in some sense, but like just that dreaming part that I remember like when we were teenagers or younger, before all this technology, it was easier to just sit or look out the window and just start daydreaming. But
Yeah.
like our days nowadays are so occupied with activities that we don't really have time to daydream much. But it's all a travel, I guess. If we bring travel into it, then we need to travel, and like we can't really go to Costa Rica every week, but we can go inside and see what's there and like experience the feelings. And sometimes you experience a piece of love or a piece of closeness with something inside you that you will bring with you back to the material world. And as you said, it's not two separate worlds or two separate things,
Mm-mm.
but then we use different facilities, we use different vehicles to experience them. We can't
Mhm.
look inside with the eye of the head. Basically, we have to use a different eye to look
Mhm.
inside. So
Mm. The eye of the heart.
the eye of the heart. Yep.
But you said something that really opens up a different view for me,
Mm.
provide an opening. And that was about breathing.
Yeah.
So I started to understand that when we breathe in and out, we are traveling.
Mm-hmm.
Each of our, breaths are about travel.
Sure.
Wow.
Mm. Yeah, that's amazing. If you look at it that way, everything is a travel. You travel from day to night and night to day. You travel
Hmm.
from this second to the next second, this hour to the next hour, this podcast to the next podcast. There's always one point to another point. And I guess the what resonates with me is that every moment of the day or every day of the week or the week of the year, I need to know that I'm going to point B. If I'm at point A right now, I have to get a little bit better. If this day is like the previous day, like last week, like last year, I'm not moving. I'm not traveling. So I think
Hmm.
with everything we have to be moving. So this travel is just like the blood, as you said. If the blood stops
Hmm.
moving
Hmm.
or traveling inside the body, we're gonna be announced dead. Same
Yeah.
thing with us. If we stop moving through life, through experiences, education, helping people, having an active role in the society, then I guess we're kind of dead. So we need to travel and grow and learn. And it
Yeah.
could be just 2 inches today, or 1 second tomorrow of more positivity. But we can't really stay. We have to keep going.
I really like the idea of keeping going.
Hmm.
And as human beings, we are we need to make an effort. We need to keep moving. And anyway, nothing stands still. So in
Sure.
that sense, we are constantly moving.
Yeah.
It's true. But how about so it is we're moving, but yet like at the end of the poem when I said when we ask the word when we ask where in fact here is hidden inside the where. That's how
Yes.
I finished the poem.
Yes. Yes.
What is it, what does that say to you? The here is inside the word where.
Yeah, that's a very good thing. I think that's just being in the moment. Like, even like I am traveling, so I have to like enjoy every step of the travel and not think, well, I have to have a goal, I guess, or a destination. But
Hmm.
at the same time, I'm here right now. Like, I'm taking the first step. So my goal, my destination is this first step. Now I'm taking the second step. So my destination is the second step. So I guess the travel and the destination are the same in that sense, because every step of the travel is the destination. Like, I've arrived to the third step now.
Oh,
Now I'm
I
going to
love
the
that.
fourth. So where is basically right here in
Right
this
here.
in this step. Yeah.
So, is it also the case that without presence, without actually, being very aware of the now,
Hmm.
there's no such thing as travel? I mean, then you're not even aware that you're traveling. So, presence and traveling are two sides of the same coin.
Oh, yes. Yeah. That makes sense.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like you have to be present in order to travel.
Hmm. Yeah, it's one of the reasons why you see people taking so many pictures nowadays. Like
Hmm.
you go to any tourist places, people are taking photos, too many photos, and I'm sure about 90% of these photos are never going to be looked at again.
Hmm.
Is because they're not experiencing that moment. They're not really seeing that building. They're not seeing that statue. They're not experiencing that smile. They're just there, and they think that if they don't take it, because they don't know how to experience it. Like, okay, well, I'm
Hmm.
here at the cathedral, for example. How do I experience this? They don't know, because in order for you to feel the feeling of the person who built this place or the people who lived here, you need to really go inwards, and you have to go through the eye of the history and look with your heart, basically, to see and feel the feelings of that place. And because people are not really um, trained in doing that, they have to take a picture because they think I have to take something here with me, and if I don't, I'm gonna lose it. But I can't really experience it, so I take a picture. So if you look
Hmm.
at it that way, then you travel to a place, you travel to a destination. If you don't know how to experience that moment, then it's as if you haven't gone there. It's as if you want to go to see a master, for example. You go there and you have no questions. So you
Hmm.
go there and you come back empty-handed, basically. So we have to really, as you very wisely mentioned, know that this moment, this place that I'm right now, is my destination and is a step forward. Because if I'm not the person that I am right now, I can't be the person that I will be tomorrow. Like
Hmm.
today is necessary for me to go to tomorrow, but today is also the destination from yesterday. Like if I wasn't there yesterday, I wouldn't have been here today. So I am
Hmm.
going to enjoy today, but I'm not going to stay here. I'm not going to stay, for example, 27 years forever. I'm going to get 28 and then 29 and then 40 and then 49. So
Right.
I'm going forward. I'm getting old. I'm moving in life. I'm learning. But then today is the destination for today. But then tomorrow will be a new. And I'm saying today, tomorrow, it could be this second, next second, first
Right.
conversation, second conversation.
Right. So, since the podcasts are called The Power of Poetry and how through the power of poetry we have an opportunity to explore ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
then this poem about travel, what, what kind of an opportunity does this poem present to us to explore ourselves. And
Mm-hmm.
I would like to just recite the poem quickly one more time.
Sure.
And before we finish, perhaps we can have a few, at least personal sort of recommendations or things that we might want to do with this poem
Sure.
for our listeners too.
Mm-hmm.
So here it is. Travel. Travel is happening every moment. The blood travels in the body, the breath travels in and out. But what is travel? Travel comes from travail, which means work. But what kind of work? The work to discover the answers we seek, or perhaps to discover the questions we ask. Traveling is circular, sometimes to the center, sometimes back to the circumference of the circle. Now I'm traveling in a triangle within the circle, from living to dying and back to living, then catching a glimpse of Al Hayy, the ever living, which supersedes living and dying. Oh, what wonder of wonders! The circle is becoming a sphere. The triangle turns into a pyramid with four triangles. Look, there's a cube inside the sphere. All building blocks of the universe. The building blocks of the universe? Traveling takes me outward, expanding, expanding forever. And then I turn, look inside, and lo and behold, it's all taking place right here, right now. Where's here? Here's inside the word where. WHERE. Don't you see? The moment we ask where, the answer is here, hidden inside the word where. I like it.
Beautiful.
I like it. I
Beautiful.
mean,
I love it. It's so beautiful and unique. Yeah, that's a very nice look at traveling, basically, especially the last of it, where and here.
mhm.
Mm. What were you thinking when you wrote this?
I'm not sure if I was even thinking
Mm.
because when I sit down to meditate or just to contemplate and sit quietly, like you were saying a little while ago,
Mm-hmm.
just sitting there quietly, uh, I just these words, this inspiration came to
Mm-hmm.
me of what travel might be. One of the things that travel is to me is that it's circular in the sense that uh, we return to where we came from. So
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, our life is a travel from the divinity, if you like, from God to
Mm-hmm.
divinity. So, in that sense, it's all circular. So, we are actually returning to where we came from. So,
Sure.
this is another way of understanding travel, that it's circular
Mm-hmm.
from living to dying to living. So this is I wanted to express that travel is circular, number one. And number two, I thought that when we say circle, I started to think about, contemplate sacred geometry. And in sacred geometry, spheres, pyramids, and triangles, all of that are building blocks of the universe, and they're constantly moving. So,
Mm-hmm.
energy and consciousness, when you look inside into atoms, they've discovered that there's geometrical shapes inside
Mm-hmm.
there, which is like fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to explore that more. I'm not sure what to say more about that at the moment. But I
Mm-hmm.
think the whole notion of the universe expanding, contracting, our breath going in and out. So all of that is also like a pulsating going on.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a
Yeah.
pulsation going on with travel as well as, the circle. So I wanted to explore all of that and bring it back to right inside of us.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot there to explore. I mean, there's like maybe different poems in there, like you're not just one poem, but there's a lot there that needs to be
Yeah.
explored further, it seems to me.
Yeah, it can be explored deeper and deeper, definitely. Yeah, you're touching upon a very important topic of travel, and also you're bringing up very, important and significant examples in your poem, which
Hmm.
can be addressed more and more and more. But since our time is coming to an end, what do you
Yes.
think our listeners can take from this poem, and how can they apply it into their life?
That's actually the question that I want to ask you, but you asked me first, so I better try to figure out an answer to that from my experience.
Hmm.
Let me see. I would suggest to our wonderful listeners who may already be meditating and paying attention to their breath to continue doing that for greater creativity and greater travel inward, and then take that to go outward. In other words, let the inward show us where we want to travel outward, and to connect the two more and more and more wherever
Hmm.
we go, bring the two together. It doesn't have to be the end of the world to the North Pole. Each time, each moment, to bring the outside and the inside together, to connect them, to become more and more present to
Beautiful.
ourselves. That's what I would say.
Beautiful. Beautifully said. And I would say just know where you are and where you're going. I think that's.
I think that's very clearly said, and right to the point, Amir. I love that. Thank you so much. This is we could talk about this forever, but I think it's a good place to probably stop for now, and
Sure.
uh, and we'll continue with another podcast in the future. I hope.
Sure, sounds good. Thank you so much for having me, and it was a blessing to be with you again.
Thank you. Thank you, Amir. Thank you so much. Let's travel more again in the future. Take care.
All right, you too.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Dear friends, we have come to the end of another podcast. I hope that you have enjoyed it as much as Amir and I did. And we hope that you'll join us again the next time. And meanwhile, you can listen to the podcast on YouTube, youtube.com/@cubic wisdom, one word. And if you like, please do subscribe to our channel. And let's find each other again on our podcasts. And meanwhile, be well and take care. Bye bye.